Are the Minnesota Vikings stuck with Kirk Cousins? I go all over social media and I see people say tank for Trevor. Maybe suck for Justin Fields or whatever people say. What would that be? Just, I don't know. They usually try to make it go with the name. I see people always saying tank for Trevor, though. Vikings can't tank for Trevor. We can't. It's just not going to happen. We can't outsuck the Jets. We can't outsuck the Jaguars. Probably not the Giants or the Redskins either. I guess they're called the Washington football team now. We can't outsuck these other teams. Assuming Trevor Lawrence has as great of a season as he did last year, he will be the first overall pick. Jets and Jaguars are not passing on him, especially the Jaguars are not going to just pass on him. That's not going to be the case. Vikings can't tank for Trevor. But outside of that, are we stuck with Kirk Cousins? You look at that contract. Why did they extend him at all? Like, first of all, why did they extend him? I know he was coming off of a great year, but why would you extend him and still give it fully guaranteed? We know Kirk Cousins is inconsistent. Kirk Cousins has never been a consistent quarterback. I just talked about this, and consistency is very important in the NFL. More than any other league in the world. Because in the playoffs, it is not best out of 7. It's not best out of 5. It's one game to prove yourself. In the NBA, you can have a bad game. Then you have 3 games to prove yourself. You have 3 games to come off of that bad game and play your best. In the NFL, you need to play your best in every game. NBA, other games, other leagues, it's totally different. In the NFL, you can't have an inconsistent quarterback. Because yes, they can get you to the playoffs. They can maybe even win a playoff game. They can't win the Super Bowl if you have an inconsistent quarterback. Because like Kirk Cousins, they are going to have one bad game coming forward. And we know this from Kirk Cousins. Yesterday we watched the game. Kirk Cousins came out and threw an interception on the first play. We knew the Kirk Cousins that was going to show up yesterday. We knew that, or if you're watching this on Tuesday, on Sunday against the Falcons is the game I'm talking about. We knew Kirk Cousins was going to have a terrible game the moment he came out there. If Kirk Cousins came out there and threw a great pass, we know, all right, we're getting the good Kirk Cousins. We're getting the Kirk Cousins that is going to play a great game. This is exactly what we see from Kirk Cousins, and this is what you cannot have in the NFL, and you cannot pay a player like this $33 million of guaranteed money a year. The most overpaid player in the league right now. Now, I'm a Kirk Cousins guy. I mean, I loved how Kirk Cousins looked in 2019. I thought he was going to improve this year with Gary Kubiak, offensive coordinator, understanding the playbook, 3rd year under Mike Zimmer. I thought that he was going to look a lot better this year. Wow, have I been proven wrong. And people will say the departure of Stephon Diggs is the big reason. No, it is not. No, it is not. Justin Jefferson is getting more targets than Stephon Diggs got last year. Justin Jefferson is a great wide receiver. When Adam Thielen was injured, and Dalvin Cook was injured last year, Kirk Cousins looks better last year than he did this year. And the offensive line has stepped up this year. Now take away Drew Samia, take away the right guard position at all. We don't even need a great offensive line. Of course, Kirk Cousins doesn't move outside the pocket. I said these things, so I'm trying not to repeat the exact same things that I've said. But Kirk Cousins just does not move is the problem. That's the problem, not the offensive line. Don't blame the offensive line. Don't blame Stephon Diggs leaving either. Just admit it. Kirk Cousins is playing awful. He is playing terrible, leading the league in interceptions, and just about all those interceptions are his fault. Of course, there is few tip passes where it's not really his fault, but at the same time, about all those interceptions are his fault. Only 11 passing touchdowns too. Take away Adam Thielen, would probably have like 3 passing touchdowns. Offense sucks without Dalvin Cook, and he has so many pieces in the offense. Stephon Diggs was a huge piece for the Vikings last year. Huge piece for the Vikings last year. Now we have Adam Thielen, who is playing great. Of course, Adam Thielen always comes up every game. Justin Jefferson, amazing. I think 8th in the league in rushing, passing yards right now, or receiving yards it would be. And then we have, of course, Dalvin Cook. Didn't play on Sunday, but still having a great year. Kyle Rudolph, Irv Smith is having an amazing year. Chad Beebe making plays from the slot. I'm happy to see what I see from Chad Beebe right now. He has so many weapons to use, and yet Kirk Cousins is still on the team. I didn't hate the decision for signing him. I know a lot of people will disagree. I didn't hate the decision for signing him. Case Keenum was easily the weak link on the Vikings team. The defense was the best in the league. Offense was amazing. Best receiving core in the league. amazing young star running back Dalvin Cook, signing Kirk Cousins was not a bad decision. Now, of course, given what we know today, that was an awful decision because we lost all of our pieces on the defense. And we lost Stephon Diggs, but that wasn't really the fault. We lost all of our pieces on defense, and now we have to use a terrible defense because we are paying a quarterback $33 million a year to throw 10 interceptions in only 6 games, and throw 10 interceptions in 6 games. And we are paying this guy this much money. Are we stuck with Kirk Cousins? I don't know. Because the problem is, Kirk Cousins is going to be on the team through 2022. You can't cut this guy. You can't get rid of him. They dropped the no trade clause. The only good thing on his contract was that they dropped the no trade clause. Can you trade Kirk to another team? Is anybody going to pay Kirk this much money? You can't bench the guy, I'll tell you that. You can't bench a player that you're paying this much money for. You can't get Trevor Lawrence. Can you get Justin Fields? Possibly. I mean, Vikings are looking like they could be in a good spot to get Justin Fields or Trey Lance. We're going to see how they play this season. It's going to be very important to see how they play. Watch Justin Fields and Trey Lance in college and other quarterbacks. Vikings will be looking for a quarterback in next year's draft. What we know from Rick Spielman, he is not going to bench Kirk Cousins, of course. Honestly, I wouldn't bench Kirk Cousins either for paying him this much money. I would not bench for Kirk Cousins. It just doesn't make sense to pay him this much money and to bench him. Hopefully, Kirk can have a great rest of the season and they can trade him. Kirk Cousins is going to be the starting quarterback in 2021. I can guarantee Kirk is going to be the starting quarterback in 2021. Doesn't matter who they take in the draft. Doesn't matter at all. I do think they will be looking for a quarterback in the draft. Maybe not first round, but they will be looking for a quarterback. It doesn't matter. Kirk is going to be the starter in 2021. If Kirk has a great year in 2021, hopefully he's not the starter in 2022 also. Because he's a free agent in 2023, and if they can trade him in 2022 coming off of a great season, again, trade him high, keep him low. That's just the way being a good GM in the NFL works. If they can do that, great. But who's going to trade for Kirk? We know that he's a very inconsistent quarterback, and you can't be inconsistent in the NFL. You can't. Anyways, we have him until 2023. We have him for 2 more years. Hopefully, Vikings can move on from this guy and get a new quarterback. I know I have been high on Kirk Cousins. I think he's a great quarterback. He's an all right quarterback. Is he a quarterback that you pay him this much money? No. Is he a replaceable quarterback? Yes, times a million. He's very replaceable. Get a quarterback to sit behind him. Trey Lance, maybe. Justin Fields, maybe. Vikings are sitting in a good spot to grab these quarterbacks. If Vikings can get a top 10 pick, now again, I don't think Vikings are going to get a top 10 pick, even though we are 1-5 right now and it's looking like we will. I don't think Vikings are going to be able to get a top 10 pick because I don't think Vikings can outsuck some of these other teams. There's a lot of teams in the NFL that are looking really bad right now. Jaguars, Jets, Giants, Washington football team, Eagles even. There's so many teams that are looking so much worse. Browns even are somehow looking very bad. So many teams are looking a lot worse than the Vikings right now. Can we get a top 10 pick? I don't think so, but I do hope so. Because if we don't get a top 10 pick, we'll probably have to trade up and try to get a quarterback. Don't cheer for the team to lose. It's not my blood to cheer for the Vikings to lose, but at the end of the day, losing is more valuable for the team than winning right now. So let me know what y'all think. Do you think the Vikings are stuck with Kirk Cousins? Is there any way we can get out of this contract? The only way would be trading him. He's going to be the starter throughout the 2020 season, obviously. He's going to be the starter throughout the 2021 season. After that, it's very possible they could trade him depending on how he looks at that time and depending on who they draft in the 2021 draft. Vikings are going to be looking for a quarterback next year. Will it be the first round? I do hope so. Will it be the second round? Second round is a tough place to grab quarterbacks. I would say first and third is probably the best rounds to grab quarterbacks. And then maybe seventh round, seeing what they'll do, grab him and hoping he will be a backup in the future. He has way too many pieces on the offense to look this bad, though. I know Dalvin Cook is the best offensive playmaker, best offensive player by far for the Vikings, in the NFL even. And without Dalvin Cook, you're paying a quarterback this much, and he throws 10 interceptions on just 6 games and only 11 passing touchdowns. You got to move on from this guy.